with there is they won't allow you to express yourself because everything has to be the one to have the dispute, so that way he's the man in charge.
Hey besties, welcome back to Reality Recap. It's Anya. I'm super excited because season 20, or maybe 19, of Sister Wives has officially wrapped up. And honestly, it kind of ended with a bit of a thud. The last section of the tell-all wasn't necessarily exciting, but there were a couple of highlights that I really thought were interesting and worth discussion. One of the things I really enjoyed was Christine's husband, David. What makes him so intelligent is his experience. Two of his older sisters actually spent their entire childhoods living in a polygamist community, so he's witnessed firsthand what life in these communities is like. He also gets the men in polygamy's behavior on a deeper level. Now, if you've been keeping up with anything about his sisters, you might know that they belong to a group based in Mexico, right over the border. Not the LeBaron group that Christine's family originated from, but a different sect altogether. And because of that, David gets a close-up glimpse of how these guys work. Statistically, what surprised me most was that during the tell-all, Suki appeared to be attempting to sugarcoat the punch, pretty much glossing over the facts of polygamy. Like, was this a Kody issue? Or was it a common problem in polygamy? She was sort of skating around it, perhaps even attempting to maintain the show's storyline. But David didn't mess around. He cut right to it and closed it down. He said, bluntly, "This is not about men in polygamy attempting to make the wives present well. It's about how the men use the women, mistreat them, play them against each other, because that's what they want. They love the competition, the tension. They live off of it."
Equal base with you and I, it's like they love that fighting going on with them. And they love that. The men love that kind of stuff.
David doesn't coddle anyone. And that's what I actually admire him for. He's not going to sit there and pretend that what we witnessed on this show was okay or normal. He's not going to go along with the notion that this setup was equal or that Kody was justified and good. He won't even consider the possibility that there's some rational explanation for what Kody is doing, or worse, that the fault is with the women. David explained it simply. Women in these polygamist cultures aren't permitted to feel. They're not permitted to respond. They're instructed to keep it all inside. Just push it in. And the men? Oh, they adore it. Because the more the women remain quiet, the tighter the men hold the reins. And at last, someone said it out loud without attempting to placate Kody or walk around his actions. No excuses, no downplaying, no making Kody deflect blame. David called it what it was. Kody preyed on the control. He enjoyed the power trip. He acknowledged it was ego. He enjoyed being adored. So, if the women were constantly vying, constantly battling, that only made it more enjoyable for him. David actually explained that his sister was utterly broken by this lifestyle, and quite frankly, to say that it was ruined is still being kind. These women suffer unimaginable trauma when they leave. Survivors of SA, domestic violence, coercive control, psychological manipulation. The list is endless. So many are from high-control environments and have no idea how to do life once they leave. They've got to unlearn everything. It's just so much. Having someone like David come out and provide a voice for that reality, it was refreshing. It was needed. Meanwhile, Robin. And this might sound tired, but it's true. Robin doesn't ever seem to address the real issues. She doesn't speak about the emotional damage, the makeup of the system, the control. Instead, she just brushes it off and plays victim. Like, "I'm so sorry that Christine and David are making their lives all about me and Robin. Let's move on." Okay, sure, let's move on. But have they really moved on? I'm not convinced. I just watched it, and what I saw tells a different story. Kody only ended up proving David's point. Even when Christine and the rest of the wives have gone, he continues to speak as if they are competing, like they're competing to be like Robin. Last week, he even claimed that Christine remains jealous of Robin. And that right there? That's how Kody rationalizes everything. Christine can't be in his head, processing trauma or telling her truth. No, she's just jealous. She wants to be Robin. She wants their thing. But let's be real. Christine doesn't want to be Robin. She doesn't even want to be with Kody. She went because she didn't want him, and she sure as hell didn't want the polygamous lifestyle. She wants something true, where she's heard, valued, and known. And after literal years of being shut up, being told to just get on with things and act like everything's all right, Christine is finally speaking out. And Kody? He'd still like her to shut up, because if she does, the reality about him is revealed. The betrayals, the manipulation, the abuse. And instead of having to deal with that, he shoots her down once more with the same old excuse. She's jealous. And sincerely? If I had spent only 1 year with Kody, I don't know if I would have married him either. I might have penetrated the charm, that attractiveness that he presents early on, the grand presence, the charisma. It's all an act. Janelle actually used the same words. She explained to everyone that Kody and Robin's courtship went on much longer than the others, and so much of what went on early on between them, it was kept secret from the family. They didn't even reveal to the others how they met. They waited until they were on the show to do so. But it did fit. Janelle explained that if she had courted Kody for 12 months, she would never have married him, because by that time, the love bombing would have passed, and the true Kody would have come out. That's precisely how such men operate in polygamy. They push people into marrying them with intense passion and charisma, so that no one gets an opportunity to know who they're actually marrying. And once that ring is on, the truth appears. And it's surprising. Christine even revealed that she never knew how serious Kody was. He didn't behave like that before they got married. But after that, it was like a flip. The joking ceased, the intensity way cranked up, and the whole atmosphere shifted. Now Kody and Robin continue to deny it, making statements such as, "Everyone always says we only ever wanted each other. That's just internet BS." Perhaps the audience did see what the family did not want to see then. I mean, come on. I'm just sitting there watching, thinking, what is happening right now? So Kody sat there trying to claim that the whole idea that he and Robin only ever wanted each other was just a lie made up by the internet. He called it bad commentary, as if it's something fans just imagined. He tried to say they never intended to abandon polygamy. But let's be real. Anyone who's been watching this show over the years could see through that. It had been clear for a long while now that Kody had had enough of his other wives. You could tell by how he treated them, cold, distant, and disconnected. It was evident they were going through the motions for the cameras, acting as if there was still intimacy and affection when there wasn't. He only actually appeared when the cameras were rolling. Otherwise, there was hardly any effort. The connection with the children? Hardly there. The connection with the wives? Disappearing fast. And Robin? It was clear she had something with Kody that the rest did not. She spent all her time with him, and it was evident. Any time Kody's feelings or thoughts came up, it was Robin talking. She spoke for him every time. And she made one thing very clear. She was Kody's wife, and he was her husband. That was the relationship. So to sit there and act like none of us noticed that? Get real. Finally, Kody did confess. Sort of. He said, "Yeah, maybe we were in denial." But no, Kody, you weren't in denial. You were producing a show. You were maintaining the illusion for ratings, and you wanted everyone else, the other girls, to go along with it. Christine even felt like it was a betrayal. And honestly, it was. If they had only been truthful sooner, been honest about what their relationship really was, they could have spared everyone so much heartache. Years of being led on, waiting for a marriage that no longer existed, could have been spared. But now, at last, they own up. We weren't mistaken. They just wanted each other. Kody even acknowledged it himself. Another flash that arose was regarding Kody's history, his confession of having been sexually active prior to being married. He testified that he had told this to only Robin and Mary. Oh, of course, Suki asked the question, why did Kody never tell Janelle or Christine? And when she asked both women that, it was Janelle who spoke up with a fairly obvious reason. And honestly, I agree with her.
I think he really just needs to somehow justify all the reasons that Robin's so perfect for him. Why is that sort of like, oh, I had sex before we got married? Or
Honestly, I don't believe Kody ever wanted to confess this to anyone. And not for a bad reason. If he had admitted to having sex before marriage, it could have hurt his chances of being able to marry more wives. Consider it. If he informed Mary and they didn't go to church, that might have risked everything for his standing within the AUB. He might have been told to repent first before continuing with other marriages. Premarital sex is a big sin in that community. It's the sort of thing that might have nullified relationships or postponed spiritual sealing. So, Janelle was right on target. At that time, Kody would not have confessed to it. He would have been too embarrassed. He would not have wanted anyone to believe that he wasn't godly enough, that he wasn't good enough to be this spiritual patriarch he was faking to be. But now, he attempts to set it up like Robin brought it out of him. He claims he opened up because she had sex prior to marriage. But let's get real. She was married prior to Kody. Same for Janelle. She had a boyfriend prior to Kody too, since she was already married before. Actually, the only wives who probably were virgins when they wed him were Christine and Mary. And perhaps Kody wanted to be able to say that he had that same kind of history as Robin, that he was on her level. But let's not forget about the hypocrisy. Remember when Robin had to make that cringe purity speech? She was just standing there going on about how she gave her purity to this one person and how he took it and threw it on the ground. Meanwhile, Kody wasn't even pure himself, and she still had to stand there and give that speech like she'd done something wrong. It always used to gross me out, like you're not even holding yourself to the same level, Kody. And then there was that part I really did not want to discuss. The uncomfortable portion when Kody and Robin's sexual relationship was brought up. I was already like, nope, not doing that. But then Kody went and took it to the next level. Suki tried to ask a question, and out of nowhere, Kody got super defensive and snapped, "We're not talking about my sexuality. It was weird." No one had even mentioned anything close to that, and yet he shut the conversation down so fast. It felt like a nerve had been hit.
Naughtiness?
No, we're not talking about my sexuality. No. Come on, that was crossing the line.
No, it's not about your sexuality. It's about you and Robin.
Do you recall that one show where Kody discussed a relationship he'd had in the past? Someone with whom he'd been intimate. And he explained that he felt tremendous guilt over it? What really caught my attention wasn't so much the admission, but how he characterized that person. He never used a pronoun. He spoke about them vaguely, such as a lover or some innocuous term, never using she or he. Of course, the internet lost its mind with speculation. Like, wait, was he suggesting that this individual could have been a man? I don't know. And to be honest, I didn't even think that much about it then. I didn't care. What I do care about, though, is the sadness of it all, when someone has to conceal any aspect of who they are, if they're straight, gay, bi, pan, whatever. Being burdened by shame, fear, or religious teaching that tells them they can't be their truth? That's heartbreaking. So when Suki broached the subject, more like attempted to discuss that entire Mormon naughtiness thing, speaking about his experience in sex before marriage, Kody abruptly shut it down, like hard. He told her in a clipped tone, "We're not discussing my sexuality. I gave you a little, that's all." I opened the door a crack, and now this is terrible. It was such an overreaction. She hadn't even asked him anything about his sexuality. Not directly, not at all. He just leapt there by himself. And it actually makes you ask yourself, why so defensive? If Kody is straight, if that is who he is and what he feels okay with, why would he automatically assume Suki was going to accuse him of having sex with men? Unless there's something we don't know about it, it doesn't compute. And again, I don't care one way or another. Seriously, I don't. But the vehemence of his reaction just sort of felt like there was more to it. He brought it up. She did not. So, did we miss something?
Yeah, she's going to be loyal. The difference with me and Robin is if we ever broke up, we would never say anything bad about each other.
So then entered this time in the tell-all where the conversation turned to Kody's rage, namely, whether Robin would ever leave him if he did not get a grip. Robin, of course, waved it off. She said Kody was fine, as if it were no big deal. But Kody, he sort of sat with it. He mentioned that, yes, if I don't get better, she'll leave me. But if we do ever split up, we will still talk well about each other. We're good friends. We'll never speak poorly or be mean. And I'm just sitting there thinking, really? Did he completely forget how Robin dragged her ex-husband? How she spoke about him? Let's not forget, she basically accused her ex of being a rapist, even though that was never proven. She painted him as an abuser, said he hurt her, claimed there was DV, when none of that was ever verified. So Kody, stating they'll never speak meanly of one another, that doesn't ring true, because Robin has done it before, and harshly. But what truly made this tell-all interesting was David. He cut through it all and called Kody what he is, and in lieu of reflecting or correcting himself, Kody reacted by confirming David's assertion again. He introduced us to the kind of man David was trying to warn us about. A man who harms women, a man who manipulates, an abuser. Even Kody's boasting about his own sexual past landed him in a quagmire. It pushed him into confronting the truth that his actions would have categorically been anathema to his church, and to Christine and Janelle. And when questions began arising about other individuals he might have been with, boom! Kody deteriorated. He became combative, making homophobic remarks and shutting down the discussion like he was being attacked. Once more, I ask, did we miss something, Kody? Because in all honesty, what we did get to see was a man who could no longer hide. He showed us exactly what he is, a manipulator, a liar, and someone who does actual damage to the people around him. And for once, someone finally called him out. Now, I want to know, what did you think about this section of the tell-all? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, subscribe if you're not already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. Thanks so much for watching. Love you, besties. Bye.